That's about as far as well. Then now, what is short-run equilibrium P and Q if there is an increase in G, or it could be I, like there could be a change in the interest rate causes I to increase, of, let's say, plus, what should we have it here nicely? Okay, plus 40. So what is equilibrium now? So what do you do, guys? Aggregate demand equals short-run aggregate supply. What is aggregate demand, by the way? What is aggregate demand? Huh? Go ahead.
It's 8,040.
Okay, 8,040 minus 16p. Everybody?
Yeah.
Pay attention, look up and be thinking. Is it 8,040 minus 16p? You're right. No, it is not. Why is it not 8,040?
Oh, it's
No, you said, yeah, you said that. Why not?
It's
Because,
on the 160.
yeah, you've got to have the multiplier, everybody. The multiplier. So now look at here. If you plugged it in here, notice everybody, you plug that in here, this is going to change this intercept term, not by 40, but by the multiplier. Also, the change in G would cause equilibrium GDP to shift by 40 times 4, the multiplier, 160. Everybody? You can get it in two ways. And this is why this is here. Be aware that you just plug it back into this equation and solve it. And you'll get AD equals 8,000 and 1,060 minus, but thank you for answering though, 16p equals 3,680 plus 24p, which implies that 40p equals 8,160 minus 3,680 divided by 40, which is equal to? Erica?
112.
112. So there is some inflation. How much increase in GDP do we get? So the new Y is YS equals 8,000 minus 16 times 108, which is equal to times 112, sorry. It's got to be 112 times 16 times 112, which is equal to 6,208.
No.
No? Everybody? No? Why is it no? Go ahead, Erica.
Because we plug into the new aggregate.
Yeah, you got to remember this has got to be 160, right? Plug it in there. Don't make that mistake. However, so it's 6,368, right? But you'd always catch this, even if you made that mistake, if you went 3,680 plus 24 times 108, double check, 112, and you would get the same answer. I presume it's the same answer. Okay, everybody? Notice 6 marks. Now, I'm going to see what you're made of. What is the multiplier given the price effect? You know, what is a multiplier? We know what the multiplier is without taking into account prices. What is the multiplier taking into account prices? The multiplier we thought we had was 4. What is the multiplier we have? What is the definition of a multiplier? It's the change in y relative to the change in g. So what's the change in y? We know the change in g. What's the change in y, given the price effect? dy dg equals 6,368 minus 6,272 divided by 40, which is the change in g. So I don't know what we've got there. Minus 6,272. 96 divided by 40, which is 2.4. So notice everybody, again, notice what's happening. We're not getting that big multiplier. If the multiplier is 4, you can have government spending and you end up getting it all back in taxes. If the multiplier is 2.4, you're not getting it back in taxes. You get some portion back in taxes. So this is hugely different. You don't get that multiplier. Now, let's see how sharp you guys are. I mean sharp, because you're thinking. I should have little stars here, like some sort of little, some candy or something to give to bribe you. Maybe this is the only way to do it. I want to know what is equilibrium Y, GDP, and P in the long run. This is actually simple. But of course you have to be able to think of it. What is it in the long run? And what do we got? Has anyone got an idea how to do this? Erica. Huh? You have an idea?
Yeah, better than that.
Okay, so that's good. Anybody besides Erica, do you have an idea?
Is it like 2002.4?
Sorry?
2002.4 minus 0.75 minus 4.
No, you're being too sophisticated. It's much more easy than that. Let's go look at our diagram. How do I find this long run equilibrium? Now, shifts like in the marketplace, it's affected by a change in wages, which we could actually figure out. But basically, if I'm here, I'm going to move this thing to here. How do I find that point there? It's where aggregate demand intersects long run aggregate supply. How do we find out long run aggregate supply, people? How do you know what can get out?
You plug the y into the new equation of the aggregate demand.
What, yeah, that's right. But the y, you mean the y star. But we don't know y star. Do we? What is y star?
We found it out.
How do we know it's y star?
AE.
AE? What do you mean? I think you're getting around. You're just not quite saying it. Well, what specifically is the number of y then? Y star?
The old 6,272.
6,272? And why is that, people? Why is it 6,272? Why is that? How does he know that? Look at it. Does he look like he's a sharp guy? He looks pretty sharp, but he's not that sharp. You know, how does he know that? Somebody whispered in his ear, sure. Nobody got it right. Well, where did you get that idea from?
Because it's just like a lot.
Because I told you that. I told you that. I said the economy was initially at long-run equilibrium. I told you that. So that is it. Now, on another question, I'll say long-run equilibrium is 6,400. That's one thing. Now, it turns out, by the way, we could do this, but I don't do this here. What do you think determines long-run equilibrium? If we didn't know it, how would we model it? How would we model it? What determines long-run equilibrium? What determines potential GDP? What determines it? You guys know. What determines it? What is it? Full employment GDP. So what determines it? Huh? Not price. In some ways, it's not different than a production possibility curve, which is at full employment. It's output at full employment. What determines the production possibility curve? What would determine your full employment? Okay, tomorrow, I want you fully employed, and I want you, printing something. Like, can you do anything? Like, let's say, let's have you.
Digging ditches.
I want you to use a whole bunch of junk. I want you to type this stuff in, okay? I want you to type this stuff in. How much is he going to print tomorrow? We know. How much is he going to type? We know the technology. Is he going to use like a 1922 typewriter? Is he going to, is he going to use something modern? His number of hours, 8 hours, his skill per hour. Full employment is determined by resources and technology, right? So if I wanted to model it that way, I could. I could say, basically, we've got this many workers. This is the technology, like the productivity is 2 output for every 1 worker, and then you guys can work it out. But we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. So there's full employment. It's pretty simple then. We end up back where we started from. Like this. Let's figure it out. It turns out to be, in this case, it's long-run aggregate supply, which is Y star. You'll always figure it out this way. You have to figure out Y star because either I gave it to you in some fashion or another, or you determine it from full employment of resources given technology, which we're not going to do in this course. Y star equals, because it's not affected by anything. It's except full employment, Y star equals AD. So in our case, this is 3,200, 6,272 equals the new AD, 8,160 minus 16P. So it turns out it's P equals 8,160 minus 6,272 divided by 16. What is the number? There. 118? Okay, then, what is inflation in the long run? What is inflation in the long run? Where inflation is the rate of change of prices, the percentage change of prices. Inflation rate. What is inflation? You guys know. Figure it out. Yeah.
9.2%.
How'd you do that?
Divided 118 by the initial 108.
Inflation equals 118 divided by, as a percent, like let's say 118, I should say minus, strictly speaking, 108 divided by 108. And is it what you said it was?
Yeah, 109, 9.25%. 26, sorry.
9.52%.
No, 26.
56, all right? Good, nice. So, we got inflation of 9.26%, and how much output change did we get? Nothing. But notice, the whole thing is premised on the position that you're at full employment. And basically that's the argument of the neoclassical types and the modern neoclassicals who are monetarists and various other people, but essentially market-oriented, we give you all the subsets, who basically argue the same thing, that market economies are basically at full employment. If they're not, it's the fault of the workers who, there's impediments in the marketplace, or the fault of governments. And therefore, since you're essentially at full employment, even if it was 10 or 12%, it would be caused because, like right now, they actually argue in the U.S., probably pretty close to full employment because there's so many jobs that workers can't do because they're not educated. This is totally false, as it turns out. but, various other things. So if you try to stimulate the economy, you're not going to get any more output, you're just going to get inflation. It's going to be a waste of time, right? You've got to let the market correct itself. Oh, one other thing before we take a break. Let's step back. All right, let's see now. A couple of things that are kind of interesting that you're going to see here. Watch carefully. Let me move this out of the way. Number one, suppose we have this increase in aggregate demand like this. Supposing it's caused by exports or something like that. So temporarily the economy expands, and assuming there's no effect on potential GDP, it's still fixed. Supposing this is the short run, like this. Everybody, get rid of this and this. Supposing there's exports, I'll put this like this. There's a change in exports. The Canadian economy expands like you see, not because governments did it or whatever. What happens in the long run if governments don't intervene? What is the long run equilibrium if the governments don't intervene? Here. What is long run equilibrium if governments don't intervene? Well, first of all, I shouldn't put it that way. I shouldn't put it that way. I'll leave that for a moment because obviously it's the same thing. This, in the long run, this moves up to here. You'll see that's not necessarily the case. The classical view is you always, by price adjustment, get into the long run. So I'm going to ask you this question a different way next time. Now, here's another thing to notice. Look here. Short run equilibrium is right here. Everybody? Right here. But we have a problem. Maybe you don't notice it. If this is short run equilibrium right here, then this should be short run equilibrium right here. In fact, we should have, in the short run, aggregate expenditure should be here, otherwise they're not lined up. Aggregate expenditure, the equilibrium up here must be the equilibrium down here. So, our first one was AES, say, still at P0, so that's that. But in the short run, actually AE is going to shift. And in equilibrium, AE will go here in the short run. When we're here in the short run, AE will be here. Do you know why? Why? Why does AE fall back by whatever transpires here? Tell me. Look at the way I've designated these. Carefully. AEPO, AEPO. What happens here in the middle? What has changed here that might affect this? Yes.
The price is increased.
The price is increased, right? So this is AE at PS. Look, prices go up. When prices go up, aggregate expenditure falls. Here's the equilibrium. All right, let's take a 10-minute break. All this stuff links together, so make sure you understand that and work it through.